The Green Bay Packers were dominated by the San Francisco 49ers in a 37-8 loss at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara on Sunday night. In a similar narrative to their loss several weeks ago against the LA Chargers, the Packers offense failed to show up in the first half as they trailed 23-0 at the break. The Packers would finally get a touchdown midway through the third quarter, but a quick 49ers touchdown 2 plays later pretty much ended all hopes of a comeback for the Pack. Guys, what did the loss show us about the Packers last night? Jackson, you had a smile on your face earlier when we came in about the Packers, but what do you guys think about this loss?
I think it answers several questions, right? It answers that San Francisco is exactly that threat that they thought maybe they could be now at 9-1. And it answers the question about the Packers right now. Now, this isn't overall looking at January and February, but the Packers aren't there yet. And that's clear as day after last night's horrible performance. 37-8 is your final. I was expecting a Packers loss, but I was expecting the offense to put up points. 8 points. And allowing 37, there's just really no good takeaways from this for the Packers, who had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. So it's really, really sad ultimately because the hopes were so high for the Packers, right? They're 8-2. They're right in the mix of the NFC. They look like the offense is revitalized. They look like the defense finally has some pieces in order to make a run. And now you get this. And what do you take away with this? Is the sad reality that maybe, again, it's not a year for the Packers. There's still time. There's still things to be fixed that can be fixed before it's really crucial come January. But right now, as we stand at the end of November, this is not ideal for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I think you hit it there. They had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Big primetime game gets flexed to Sunday night, and that's the performance you get. Just not what you want if you're a Packers player, coach, or fan, having 2 weeks to prepare, and the game plan just wasn't there. I think you had a lot of time to prepare for this, and you just didn't do it. And talking about it with you guys earlier, the timing just wasn't there. Aaron Rodgers seemed every throw was just off. I think one of the biggest ones I had was he had a chance for the Packers to score to keep the game relatively close, and he overthrew the guy in the end zone on a great route. Just overthrew him, needed to be there a second earlier, and it just wasn't there. And I think that really just explained the entire game. Just the timing was off, second late, second early, and just wasn't there. Defensively, just secondary got broke down. They got beat. George Kittle's big touchdown there, that was embarrassing. Just horrible for that.
Wide open.
Yeah, wide open. And you can't allow that to happen. So I think they just got to go back to the drawing board and look at some film. And, they're a good team. I think they still have a very good chance to win the NFC North, get that home field advantage, whether they play the Vikings or the Cowboys. But they just got to go back to the drawing board, settle down. They're a good team. They're a good playoff team. Obviously, we know Aaron Rodgers is great in the playoffs. He can make magic happen out of nothing. It's just, can they go back and fix their mistakes that they had?
They're still a really good team, Jackson. There's no doubt that the pieces are here for Green Bay. It's just a matter of putting them together in the best way possible and execution. Last night we saw very little of that. 37-8 once again. I'm going to keep bringing up this score because that says it's really bad offensively and it's really bad defensively. It's a really bad football game. This is ideally, and we said this with the LA loss, is football seasons are full of highs and lows. You hope that LA loss was the biggest low of the season. Well, now that's been replaced as the biggest low of the season with the San Francisco loss because there was seriously nothing you can take away from this and say, oh yeah, they did that pretty well. Unless we're looking at minute details and maybe some execution on plays. But overall, yesterday was something you are not proud of and that you want to throw completely in the trash bin moving forward. So what do they have? About 6 games left. 5 games left. So, they've got work to do. 5 games left at 8-3. You want to win as many of those as you can, and their schedule is easy enough to win a couple of games, but it's all going to come down to that battle with Minnesota.